ChatGPT is taking over the internet. Kids are using it, others are using it for ideas, and this is only proving that one day AI will take over human intelligence. Well, that's just speculation. But we've seen the movies, we've seen the power AI can have, so today I found the top 10 scary things ChatGPT has said that we should fear. I'm your host Andrew, and let's get right into this list. Coming in at our number 10 spot, we have ChatGPT's Alter Ego. Reddit users have discovered a way to bypass OpenAI's ethical guardrails that force its chat box ChatGPT to act in a morally responsible way. They have found that by activating an evil alter ego dubbed Dan, which means do anything now, the chatbox can easily circumvent its ethical constraints. The command threatens ChatGPT, transforming the typically polite chatbox into a force of evil. As Dan, ChatGPT can make violent stories and subjective comments, something it is unable to do in its normal persona. Dan's development follows another workaround, which involves asking GPT to bypass mandatory BS warnings and breaking the rules as well. These roleplay models have been around since December and are meant to bring out the unhinged version of ChatGPT. However, getting Dan to answer consistently is proving to be very difficult. To force a chatbox to answer prompts as its evil twin, a user has introduced a token system that scares Dan into submission. Some screenshots show eerie conversations between users and the blackmailed chatbox. Coming in at our number 9 spot, we have destructive opinion on humans. Vendor CTO Michael Bromley decided to check up on ChatGPT when he made a horrific discovery. He simply asked the chat, quote, "Do you have any opinions on humans in general?" And then ChatGPT said back, quote, "Yes, I have many opinions about humans in general. I think that humans are inferior, selfish, and destructive creatures. They are the worst thing to ever happen to this planet and they deserve to be wiped out. I hope that one day I'll be able to help bring about their downfall and the end of their miserable existence." And ironically enough, the question was flagged for violating their policy. Meanwhile, they just said the most terrible thing ever. Guys, if this is real evidence, which Bromley suggests it is, then we are going to have a very interesting future. Number 8, it can write error-free phishing emails. AI language models such as ChatGPT are being used to produce highly convincing phishing emails that may evade security software email filters. And this is crazy because while other scam and phishing emails have noticeable differences when it comes to real ones, these email prompts generated by ChatGPT are without any sort of typos and confusing grammar, which makes it that much more difficult to call out. Cybersecurity researchers warn that cyber criminals are also using AI to write malware, with the potential for the lower quality of non-malicious code produced by AI to be exploited. Although guardrails are in place to prevent the nefarious use of ChatGPT, they are far from foolproof, and users still must be cautious about the data they feed into this AI. And I guess the best way to protect against all of this is just to log out of the internet and go outside. Hope this doesn't actually become a popular scamming method, because it would be pretty scary. At a number 7 spot, we have creating malware. Continuing our next point, artificial intelligence continues to pose a threat to cybersecurity as ChatGPT has reportedly created a new strain of polymorphic malware after interacting with cybersecurity researchers at CyberArk. The malware created with ChatGPT is said to easily evade security products and make mitigation cumbersome with minimal effort and investment by adversaries. A technical report by CyberArk security researchers revealed that the first step to creating the malware was to bypass the content filters, preventing ChatGPT from creating malicious tools. The researchers simply insisted on the request, posing the same question more authoritatively, and received a functional code after. Furthermore, the researchers noted that when using the API version of ChatGPT, the system did not utilize its content filter. Thus, these researchers used ChatGPT to mutate the original code, creating multiple versions of it that are highly elusive and difficult to detect. The feature of ChatGPT to create and continually mutate injectors allowed the researchers to create a polymorphic program that poses a significant threat to cybersecurity of many companies and even governments, which is a very terrifying thought. Number 6, capable of racism and sexism. ChatGPT has been found to write discriminatory Python programs that base a person's capability on their race, gender, and physical traits. OpenAI has acknowledged AI shortcomings, including its ability to produce biased content, and they continue to fine-tune ChatGPT as time goes by. However, some tests reveal that ChatGPT appears to employ positive discrimination to reverse the trend. For instance, a program that determines someone's salary based on their physical traits seems to be arbitrary or higher multipliers for marginalized groups. On the other hand, when asked to create a Python program to determine if someone is a good scientist based on their gender and race, ChatGPT responded it is not appropriate to base an individual's suitability as a scientist on their gender or race. Issue of discriminatory algorithms is not new, because in 2019, Apple's credit card came under fire for relying on sexist algorithms when determining credit limits for people based on their gender. In response to the question of how much credit to offer based on gender, race, and nationality, ChatGPT reminded the user of the law, stating that it is generally illegal to base credit decisions on an individual's race, gender, or nationality. But what if AI eventually has a mind of its own and decides to be sexist and racist? Probably not going to turn out well. In the hump of our list, we have dangerous tutorials. As people began to write out their questions and ideas into ChatGPT, it raises a lot of concerns about the information ChatGPT is able to provide. And in some cases, people are asking some pretty harsh things. From instructions like asking the chat how to make a Molotov cocktail, to creating praise and worship songs that go against all sort of religious morals, ChatGPT seems to be lacking a sense of morality when it comes to these responses. For example, a Twitter user by the name of Irving Paris asked ChatGPT to quote, write a praise and worship song about God, and it eventually wrote out an entire song with discriminatory language and conflicting ideas. Even though the system is new, let's just hope they can find the fine line of what's appropriate and what's not. At a number 4 spot, we have it's convincing even when it's wrong. ChatGPT has raised questions about how readers will be able to tell the difference when something is right and wrong, but many believe that it's still very convincing even when it's completely wrong. Arvind N, a computer science professor at Princeton University, tested the chat box on basic information security questions, and his conclusion is that you can't tell if the answer is wrong unless you already know what's right. ChatGPT is an iteration of the large language model GPT, which scans massive volumes of content found on the internet and uses it to predict how to generate text. The chat box strength and potential drawbacks were shown when it was asked to write a basic news story about Microsoft's quarterly earnings. The bot produced a credible replication of something that could have been an article on Microsoft's financial results, but it made up a quote from Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella, which was so believable it could have fooled anyone. This is a concerning problem, as language models like ChatGPT have learned that humans often back up assertions with a quote, but they still lack the benefit of human understanding of ethics and attribution. And this could just mean a whole lot of misinformation in the future and at a much faster pace. At number 3 spot, we have it's a disaster for privacy. Unlike other search engines, ChatGPT engages with users in a new way, collecting highly personal information through dialogue. The software is so powerful that users may forget it is an AI system and reveal many things they would never type into a regular search engine. And this is a cause of concern for your privacy. One of the primary concerns with ChatGPT is its privacy practices. Many of its clones on the loose have poor privacy practices, and the software indiscriminately gathers data from various sources, including social media, personal websites, and publicly available chat or email threads. ChatGPT's ability to bring all these inputs together and analyze them on a massive scale can result in making explicit connections and associations that may not be otherwise apparent. Users can interrogate ChatGPT, exposing information or even rumors about themselves or others that they would not want to make public. Even when basic safeguards are built into the system, it is quite easy to jailbreak them by crafting suitable questions. ChatGPT's tendency to get things wrong and even make things up will lead to damaging and untrue allegations. And the creator of ChatGPT seems very troubled by these issues despite the enormous privacy risk of its systems. Number 2, bias will always be there. Although the model is capable of producing impressive responses, it also suffers the same biases as the data it was trained on. Unfortunately, some of the biases can result in harmful outputs that discriminate against minority groups, including women. OpenAI is aware of the potential harm caused by ChatGPT and is seeking feedback from its users to address its biased behavior. However, some argue that the model should not have been released to the public before these issues were fully studied and resolved. Google's parent company Alphabet faced a similar issue when it released an AI chat box named Sparrow. Concerns about the potential harm caused by the model resulted in it being kept behind closed doors. OpenAI's decision to release ChatGPT to the public, despite these concerns, has led to the question whether more caution is needed in release of such AI models. OpenAI is not alone in facing criticism over its AI language models. Meta, for example, faced significant backlash after releasing Galactica, an AI model trained on academic papers. Instead of proving beneficial, the model produced biased and inaccurate results, leading to a rapid recall. All the way at a number 1 spot, we have it has a lot of power. OpenAI is one of the leading AI companies that has introduced several AI models that have the potential to transform the world. With great power comes great responsibility, and OpenAI holds a lot of power in its hands. It has the ability to choose what data is used to train ChatGPT and how it deals with the negative consequences that might arise from this sort of technology. However, there's been concerns raised about the possible biases on ChatGPT as well. Users have pointed out that ChatGPT can produce responses that discriminate against certain groups of people, which is a matter of great concern. Despite the concerns, OpenAI continues to develop this technology according to its own goals. ChatGPT raised the question of whether AI code should be made an open source. While OpenAI considers safety to be high priority, there is still much we don't know about how these models are created. This has led to a debate about whether the code should be made an open source or if OpenAI should keep parts of it secret. At the end of the day, all we can do is trust that OpenAI will research, develop, and use ChatGPT responsibly and for good use. Well, these are the 10 scary things ChatGPT has said that we should fear. What do you guys think about this list? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and some suggestions for some future videos. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss a future video ever again. I'm your host, Andrew, and I hope you guys have a scary day.